Hello YouTube, long time no see. Sorry I haven't been able to make many videos recently. I'm currently in China at the moment teaching English, and it's pretty hard for me to watch WWE pay-per-views at least a day or two after they've been released, so maybe I'll update some of them. But I want to make a video about the entire WWE roster, which is quite a few wrestlers. I want to go through each and every one of them and talk about their potential, whether the WWE should get rid of them, whether they should be heel or face, just dissect each and every character just for shits and giggles. Probably quite a long video, but I think it's something that I'd love to talk about. First off, we start with AJ Lee. So this is somebody who I think is a great wrestler. I'm going to go through these alphabetically. I think she's probably the most credible women's champion we've had for a long time. Probably the only one I've given a shit about over the last few years. Every time a women's match comes on TV, I fast forward it. If I'm watching a pay-per-view, I'll go for a piss. I just give no shits whatsoever about the women's division, and that is apart from AJ Lee. I think she's really talented. I like her intro, her character's great, she's pretty damn hot. She definitely appeals to the kind of geeky fantasies of a lot of wrestling fans, and yeah, she's a bit of a kind of fan as well. So AJ Lee, pretty good asset to the company in my opinion, and apparently she's really close to Stephanie McMahon, which won't hurt her career. Next we've got Oksana. I never ever see her on TV. She's pretty hot, but that's just about it. She can go fuck herself, quite frankly. Alberto Del Rio next. Now this is a guy who I'm making this video I think a week or two after Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. I think his career is completely fucked. It's gone, it's wasted, and it was buried once and for all by guess who? John Cena. You had the perfect opportunity the WWE had to get Del Rio over by beating an injured Cena with his cross arm breaker thing, because Cena was coming back from an injury, he wasn't 100% fit. This was the perfect opportunity for WWE to actually make Del Rio look like a credible champion, a credible wrestler. And Survivor Series is in John Cena's hometown, so this would have been, even though I hate Cena, at least he's kind of added a bit of validity to the belt. That would have been the perfect opportunity at Survivor Series in his hometown to then get the win over Del Rio. So you put Del Rio over just one time against Cena, make him look more credible, and then Cena wins the belt eventually. What happened at Hell in a Cell with Del Rio losing to a not fully fit Cena has basically, in my opinion, killed Del Rio's career. He's over, he's done, he will never ever make it, unfortunately, because even though he's got really no charisma, I think he's a top wrestler. Well, not a top wrestler, but he's a quality wrestler. He actually has some chops on him, being a former WWE champion. Had he won that match, you could have credibly made him, an upper mid-card top guy. But after that burial from Cena, his career to me is dead. And if you actually run through every single one of the WWE champions we've had over the last 30, 40 years, I think him and The Miz are the only two that, in my opinion, will never get into the Hall of Fame. And I think that says a lot about both characters and how both of them pretty much been fucked over by the WWE, although in all fairness, Miz isn't really that good. But Del Rio, sucks to say it, but in my opinion, his career is done. He's just never ever going to reach the heights that he should have done, and his title reigns have been wasted on him. The WWE belt has finally gone to somebody like Del Rio, who is a failure, and that's quite sad to say. That the champions of all time on the WWE belt are an elite list of wrestlers until you reach the likes of Del Rio, and unfortunately it's all WWE's fault for killing him, and perhaps pushing him too fast too soon. Next we've got Alex Riley. I don't really see anything particularly special in him. He was kind of cool as the Miz's sidekick. He did pretty well, but I don't really see what the fuss is all about. Apparently his career has been buried by Cena. I'd like to think that because I hate Cena, and if that's true, that's kind of funny. But Alex Riley, whatever, and I see him every now and again, but who cares? Alicia Fox, she's pretty hot actually. I think she's a good-looking woman. Can't wrestle, don't really give two shits, but she's definitely something nice to look at. Next we've got Antonio Cesaro. I like him a lot. I think he's a quality worker. He's a fellow European, so I quite like him for that. I think he's charismatic, strong. Apparently actually John Cena likes him, which is cool, so maybe that'll help his career. It's all about Cena, isn't it, in the fucking WWE, unfortunately. Every single male wrestler I've talked about so far is in some way or form being buried or helped by Cena, and I wonder how many more to come will have the seal of approval and not from Cena. But Cesaro, I think, is a great wrestler. Lots of potential. The big swing's really cool. Should he be a face or a heel? I'm not really sure. I'd probably be better off, in my opinion, just as a kick-ass heel, but maybe a face turn ain't too bad. I actually said I was going to talk about faces and heels for each of the wrestlers, and so far I think with Del Rio he should be a heel, AJ Lee should be a heel, and I think that Cesaro should probably be a face. I don't give a shit about Alex Riley or any other women wrestlers. Next we've got Big E Langston. I think this guy's got a lot of potential, really like him, big guy, the kind of person WWE wants, could very well be the first ever WWE champion who's properly black. Like I said before, I don't really class The Rock as black. He's a quarter black or something, but Biggie Langston, massive guy. I'm looking at him right now. He looks like a tough son of a bitch, and he's pretty quick as well. So a lot of potential for this dude, and I reckon, would make a good face in the future. And thus far in November, he seems to be doing pretty well. Next, we've got the Big Show. Oh, I'm so bored of him. I mean, in a way, I'm okay with him being in the title picture for the time being. He's going to wrestle Randy Orton at Survivor Series. I'm sure he won't win it. I'm fine with him being there at the moment, just so Daniel Bryan can kind of get out of the title picture and hopefully win the title at WrestleMania. But I'm frankly bored of Big Show. I don't really give a shit. He's a decent wrestler, decent actor. He's nicked Daniel Bryan to Yes Chance. Whatever. Just I'm pretty disappointed in how he's managed to take all the limelight off of Daniel Bryan, but fuck it. If they're just biding their time to put Daniel Bryan at the top, that's fine. But yeah, the Big Show, he's a great wrestler. I mean, not really necessarily a great wrestler, but he's a great person in sports entertainment. He's been around for a long time, so I certainly appreciate him. He's definitely a future Hall of Famer, but quite frankly, I'm pretty bored of him, and the sooner he's out of the title picture, the better. Next, we got, Booker T's an announcer. I don't really, he's okay, whatever the hell he does. Brad Maddox, I actually kind of like. I don't know what it is about him. He's definitely got some kind of unique charisma. I think that's why he is where he is, because just to look at him, you're kind of like, why is this guy on TV? But I think backstage, where he doesn't feel the pressure of the crowd, he's probably hilarious, and in a way I kind of like him. There's something endearing about him, so I think Brad Maddox is pretty cool. He should probably be a kind of heely, facey kind of a general manager or whatever. Next, Bray Wyatt. This guy, I mean, I've seen him wrestle. He's all right. I definitely think he needs to improve his in-ring skills, but he seems like a badass. His look is amazing. I don't know how long the whole Wyatt family thing's going to last for, whether Bray Wyatt can have this character for the rest of his career. I'm not sure. There's definitely a potential big matchup between him and his real life brother Bo Dallas in the future. I'd be interested to see that. So it's a bit too early to say what will happen with Bray Wyatt, but frankly, I do see big things for him. But whether he's going to be a top guy, I'm not really sure about that. But future WWE champion, yeah, I think it could happen. Next, we've got Brie Bella, whatever. I don't even know whether she's the one with Daniel Bryan or Cena. I mean, they're twins, I guess it's not. Actually, I think Brie's the one with Cena, so she kind of comes across as a bit of a bitch, but maybe that's just her character, so whatever. I guess she's okay. I haven't got a problem with her. Next, we've got Brock Lesnar, badass. I'm so disgusted that he lost his first match coming back to John Cena. Just says it all. That was a joke. Brock Lesnar should have come to this company, beaten the shit out of everyone, and then finally been beaten by maybe The Undertaker at WrestleMania or an up-and-coming young star. The fact that he lost his first match to John Cena just killed him from the start. He's been alright since he's gotten back. His match at SummerSlam with CM Punk was actually really, really good. Losing to Triple H at WrestleMania was stupid. That was a stupid feud. I think he was wasted there. But in all fairness to Brock Lesnar, he's still a badass, and every time you hear his music, you get one hell of a pop. So I do like Brock Lesnar. Whether he's really been the success for the WWE as he should have been, and whether he justifies his huge amount of money, is questionable. But quite frankly, I'm happy to have him on TV whenever he is. So yeah, Brock Lesnar's cool, and obviously he should stay on the heel. Next, we've got Brodus Clay. I do not give a shit about this guy. I think that Bray Wyatt should be a heel as well. Brodus Clay is just a waste of a character. He could actually be a really badass heel in my opinion. Anyone who's as big as him should be a heel. And ironically, in the picture I'm looking at him on the WWE roster on their website, he's got like a real nasty scowl on his face, and he looks pretty fucking mean. So the fact that he's been wasted for 2 years in that stupid Funkasaurus gimmick is he's wasted talent. That thing was cool for like the first 2 or 3 months, and now it's just sucks dancing with kids and shit. And he's pulled down Tensai with him, who is but shit anyway. So Brodus Clay, what a waste of talent, even though he's probably not that talented. And to think last year he was just burying everyone in squash matches, and now where is he? So that was a hell of a lot of wasted TV time given to a shitty wrestler. So WWE have fucked up with Brodus Clay. Camacho, I haven't seen this guy on TV for years, so whatever, fuck him. Cameron, I think's the other of the Funkadactyls. I don't think she's quite as good a wrestler as Naomi, but she's pretty freaking hot if I'm being completely honest. Yeah, she's alright, whatever. Christian, I mean, I don't know, has he even been around since SummerSlam? I'm not really sure. Yeah, he's just one of those wrestlers it's nice to see every now and again. He should stay a face, just put on some good matches here and there. Yeah, I'm happy with him being around. Next, we've got CM Punk, who I'm a big fan of. I absolutely prefer him as a heel. I think he's so much more suited to the role. He's a very talented wrestler, so I really like him as a heel. But let's be honest, he's just way too popular to be a bad guy. So as a face, I kind of like him. I think the fact that he was champion for 434 days or whatever, even though it was questionably how good a reign it was, he didn't really main event too many pay-per-views because of fucking Cena. He didn't really have that many challenges, and then when he lost his belt to The Rock, having his first proper match for like 10 years, I think it was bullshit. He got buried by The Rock. Pissed off about that. But having said that, I think this guy is a made man. He's like absolutely hot shit, and I think he'll be around for a while. And yeah, I think CM Punk's excellent, and I really hope he gets a main event WrestleMania at some point in his career, preferably at WrestleMania 30. I really want to see Daniel Bryan versus CM Punk in the main event. Both wrestlers deserve it. Maybe CM Punk should be the WWE, win the belt off of Orton at Royal Rumble or something. Go into the main event with Bryan, put on one of the best wrestling matches of all time, and you could put on a really cool storyline about them both being indie wrestlers and making it to the main event of WrestleMania. But knowing Vince McMahon and his hatred of anyone that the WWE hasn't made themselves, that angle will unlikely happen. But that's certainly a match I'd love to see. And yeah, CM Punk effing rules, and I'd like to see the belt back on him at some point. Next we got Cody Rhodes. Yeah, you know what? He was a good heel, but actually I think he is probably more suited to being a face. You know, any wrestler who is the child of a famous wrestler, I reckon should be a face. And somebody else who's coming up, Curtis Axel's the next guy. I reckon he should be a face too, because if you're the child of a former fan favorite, that's going to get you over. And I think Cody Rhodes looks great as a face. His tag partnership with Goldust, I think it's absolutely fantastic. I don't know how big he'll ever get. Will he ever be a main guy? Probably not, but he's certainly somebody who I reckon could be a good world heavyweight champion. He is a potential Royal Rumble winner in my opinion. Maybe win that and go on to win the world heavyweight title at WrestleMania. I think that'd be pretty cool. So while I wouldn't say Cody Rhodes is the next big thing, I definitely think he's a worthy main eventer, you know, here and there. Next we've got Curtis Axel. When he first came, he was really hot, but let's be honest, his pretty terrible mic skills I think have really damaged his career. He's not over with the crowds, even to the extent he's getting booed very much. Interestingly enough, Paul Heyman's sticking with him still, and he just beat Ziggler on Raw, which kind of pissed me off for the Intercontinental title. Oops, sorry. But yeah, I think Curtis Axel is a decent wrestler, but his lack of charisma I think will definitely harm his career. He's possibly better as a face, but it's sad to say, but I think his career has already peaked. But yeah, he's alright. Next, we've got Damien Sandow, another wrestler buried by John Cena. I thought it was disgraceful how he lost his cash-in to John Cena. It's quite funny. John Cena, in the space of 2 days, Hell in a Cell and the Raw the night after, buried two young superstars. Fucking typical. You know, before he lost that match, I thought Damien Sandow could have been a decent kind of world heavyweight champion, somebody who could potentially be a top heel. He reminds me of Triple H a little bit, kind of a badass, kind of intelligent, kind of yeah. He reminds me a hell of a lot of Triple H's old gimmick. So who knows? Maybe he could have been like quite a big star. Maybe he still can. But quite frankly, I think Cena beating him really, really has harmed his credibility, which sucks to me because I think Damien Sandow is an above-average ring worker and a pretty damn entertaining character as well. He looks the part, and he should definitely stay as a heel. Next, we've got Daniel Bryan, who's at the moment my favourite wrestler. I think he's fantastic. The WWE, I mean, you could question, are they giving up on him? Are they blaming him for poor buy rates, which is ridiculous? Are the WWE losing faith in him? Frankly, I don't think they are. I think they have a plan for him to maybe win a massive match at WrestleMania, either against Triple H, Shawn Michaels, which would be pretty cool. But I reckon he'll have the belt at the end of the night at WrestleMania. Otherwise, they've basically fucked up the last 2 or 3 months by taking the belt away from him. I think they're giving us a bit of foreplay, which is cool, very similar to the Stone Cold thing in '98. The only bad thing is and this is half the stuff I'm talking about now I should have maybe said in reviews of the last few pay-per-views, but Daniel Bryan getting his ass kicked a lot doesn't really help him. Stone Cold got the shit kicked out of him, but he'd always get in a few stunners, do you know what I mean? He'd always be outnumbered, but he'd fuck up a few people, and then he would get arrested or beaten down. Daniel Bryan doesn't seem to be doing that. I'd really like to see Daniel Bryan just fucking like put Triple H in the crossface, kick 1 or 2 of the Shield's asses, and eventually be taken out. He just gets his ass kicked all the time, which is, in my opinion, a bad idea. But Daniel Bryan, I think, is a future star. He's over as shit. He's a great wrestler. He's got a really unique character. I always saw it in him. Some twats on the internet in the IWC, whose names I won't mention, thought he was never going to be a top guy. I think they really failed to see how he appeals to pretty much all fans, kids, casual fans, diehard fans, smart marks, all that bullshit. I think he's a quality wrestler, sports entertainer, and I really hope the WWE just gives him a long title run, lets him go with it, because I think he's a star. He's never going to be the face of the company like Cena, which is fine, but he's definitely somebody who should be around right at the top, in my opinion. Great guy, Daniel Bryan. Next, we've got Darren Young. I mean, I've always kind of liked him. I think he's very average. I guess him coming out as being gay is a cool decision. I'm not going to say good for him. So he's gay, like that's something to be proud of. No, being gay is just a normal thing. It's not like it makes you special or anything. So, good for him for coming out. But yeah, I'm quite happy the WWE haven't made too big a deal out of it, because I think it trivializes homosexuality, which is not a good thing. And yeah, he's alright. He's pretty average. He's probably never going to go anywhere, but he makes a good face. Next, we've got David Otunga. Is this guy even on TV anymore? Shit wrestler. He's okay, actually. He's kind of got a good gimmick when he's in the bow tie and that stupid flask, but he should not be a wrestler. He's pretty forgettable. Fuck him. Dean Ambrose is next. I really like him a lot. This guy, even though I like good in-ring ability, I'm not the kind of guy who likes big, strong wrestlers, just with boring matches. Even though I'm not that guy, I have to say Dean Ambrose needs to bulk up a bit. For me, he's just too skinny to be a top guy. If he put on some muscle, he could have a good future. He looks like a badass. He really reminds me of like a kind of 1950s, like a biker guy with a leather jacket and the toothpick in his mouth. Got a bit of Razor Ramon to him. I think he's pretty damn cool. Is he ever going to be a top star? Too early to say, frankly. But he could definitely be a big player in the future. He reminds me of a bit of Brian Pillman, actually. Just got a kind of badass look, and he should probably stay a heel for the rest of his career. Next, we've got Diego, one of the El Matadors. I don't give a shit. I think that's either Primo or Epico, I'm not sure. But I don't like the El Matadors, to be honest. It's a pretty stupid gimmick. It's kind of funny, but I'm guaranteed it will get old extremely quickly, so whatever. Next, we've got Dolph Ziggler. I'm a big Dolph Ziggler fan. I mean, a lot of people who hate on him rightly mention that he just doesn't have the most charisma in the world, but I still don't see why that means he can't be a top wrestler in the WWE. I don't really think that he lacks that much charisma. I mean, like, he's a good-looking son of a bitch, like, he's cool. Like, a lot of women are gonna like that. Like, does For example, does Randy Orton have that much charisma? Not really. Yet because he's got that kind of look like Dolph Ziggler has, he makes it to the top. So I think Dolph Ziggler can yet be a really quality wrestler in the WWE. Not the main guy, but like a kind of Daniel Bryan or Cody Rhodes kind of character who could be right up there, put on quality matches. Because I think he's a great wrestler, and I think he has got a great look. So quite frankly, I think Dolph Ziggler is awesome, and I think the WWE are fucking him over quite a bit. And yeah, just because I think he's got everything apart from that kind of X factor, which I will concede. Next, Drew McIntyre. I used to like him a lot. He's Scottish, so I like that. You know, he's British. That's cool with me. I really want to like him, but his career is completely ruined. 3MB fucked him over. At first, I thought, hey, it's at least he's got something to do. 3MB are quite entertaining. But they just got buried non-stop. So there's no recovery, in my opinion, for Drew McIntyre, which sucks because he once upon a time was the chosen one. And he should probably be a heel, but maybe a face. Who knows? That's the problem. It's hard to tell. Drew McIntyre's career is pretty much done, which sucks. Next, we've got The Rock. You know, I like The Rock. He definitely buried CM Punk, and then fucking put John Cena over, so I can complain about him for that. But you know, he brings in mainstream fans. He's obviously very talented. You know, I would be extremely naive to say that Dwayne The Rock Johnson is of detriment to WWE. He's an asset for the company. So as much as I hate to see him stealing the limelight from younger stars, hey, The Rock's an A-list player, so fair play to him. Next we've got Epico. Isn't that the guy in El Matadores? Isn't that Epico and Primo? I swear to God it is. I have no idea, so whatever. Next, Eric Rowan, the ginger guy from the Wyatt family. He's alright. He'll probably never be anything, but he's quite imposing, so maybe he can make a good heel. But I don't really see much of a future in him. Next, Eva Marie. I have no idea who she is, but she's hot. Probably in that Total Divas thing. Evan Bourne. I kind of like him. I mean, he's actually, in all fairness to the guy, he's the kind of dude who'll just put on a good match, good mid-card match, so I have no problem with him. That kind of shooting star press he did at WrestleMania 26 off the ladder was amazing, so that was pretty badass. I kind of like the guy. He'd be a good mid-carder. Nothing else. Maybe get a cheeky US Championship title reign at some point in his career. But whatever. Next, Ezekiel Jackson. He's massive, but he's just slow as shit. No charisma. I don't really care. Sorry, mate. You look like a badass, but he just doesn't have it. Fandango. I mean, you know, it's a tough one. Like when he came on the scene, he was massive. Like I'm a big fan of the Opie and Anthony show, which is an American radio show, and even they were talking about him. Even though they were like, oh, we don't watch wrestling anymore, wrestling's boring, they got back into wrestling because of Fandango, and he beat Jericho at WrestleMania. This guy definitely has something special about him, but he keeps on losing random matches. He hasn't won a belt. I think he's kind of gone down a peg, which is kind of a shame because he did win a massive match at WrestleMania and now he's not really doing anything, so that kind of sucks. But you know, I rate him. I can't really see him ever becoming a big star, but he's certainly entertaining, so I do like him. Next, we've got Fernando off of El Matadores. Fuck him. Goldust. Wow, what an amazing return. I'm so happy to see this guy. I think he's very underrated, Goldust. I wouldn't necessarily say he's a Hall of Famer, but you got to remember, this guy's been around, I think, since 1991, like Royal Rumble 91 or something like that. He's been in the company for about 22 years, which is you know, obviously in and out. But that's an amazing career Goldust has had, and I think he's a decent worker. He looks like he's in great shape. And he was over as shit back in '96 WrestleMania 12 with his gay gimmick, a gimmick I thought was brilliant. So I really like Goldust. I think he's very underrated. I'm thrilled for him that he's come back and had this opportunity to hold the tag team belts. Makes me very happy to see that, and just goes to show that even though I myself bitch about older wrestlers coming back and stealing the limelight from others, there is definitely a place for kind of gimmick old wrestlers coming back and being around for a while, like Rob Van Dam. So good shit, Goldust. Next, Great Khali. I mean, obviously he's terrible. He can barely move. He's a pile of shit. But he's still he makes, in my opinion, a good jobber. You know, if you do a good move on him, like Cesaro does with the big swing or his finisher, or a Ryback getting him with his finisher, it looks pretty badass. So he's okay at putting people over. If as long as he's not costing the company too much money and he isn't on TV too much, whatever. The Great Khali, he looks kind of scary as shit, so whatever. I don't mind him, and yeah, he makes a good face, I guess. Next, Heath Slater, just very average, actually kind of entertaining in my opinion. I don't dislike him, but he's obviously just a kind of jobber kind of dude. But whatever. Hornswoggle, ugh, whatever. Fuck off. Next, Hunico, never see him, don't care. Jack Swagger, don't like him. Kind of fucked up that he was in the World Heavyweight Championship match at WrestleMania. What a waste that match was, eh? Del Rio is trying to get over as a face. Jack Swagger, he was shit. And you didn't even have the Ziggler cash-in, so that was a terrible waste of time from the WWE. Yet another star the WWE has built up and failed with. WWE has been so awful over the last few years building up stars that you have to admit, in fact, kind of fucked up. The only two who in my opinion, have ever really gotten over the last 3 or 4 years are Daniel Bryan and CM Punk, who are basically not what WWE are looking for in wrestlers, which I think says a lot about the kind of people who defend the WWE's policy and them wanting big guys and not wanting smaller guys and shitting over people who prefer in-ring workers. The fact that the two wrestlers who've only really gotten over the last few years, CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, says a lot to me that actually the fans do want in-ring workers and people with like a history in the indies and a bit of charisma. Every WWE young star that they've tried to bring through, like Del Rio and Swagger, have all been fuck-ups. So I think that says a lot, and Jack Swagger has been a waste. Next, JBL. I really like JBL, but he's really bad at being a heel, like commentator. He compliments the faces way too much. Like Cena, for example. I know I always bitch about Cena, but I despise John Cena. I think everything, all the focus is on him. JBL will say, "My God, that was amazing," like about Cena. The next guy on the list is Jerry Lawler. When Jerry Lawler was a heel commentator, he would shit all over the big faces, and that would get the faces over. The fact that JBL, a heel wrestler, is praising the likes of John Cena just basically tells the fans how shitty and how everyone sucks up to John Cena. So I like JBL as a commentator, but it sucks that he puts over faces quite often, especially John Cena. And next is Jerry the King Lawler. I'm thrilled he's healthy and he survived that heart attack, but he needs to get off TV immediately. He's crap and boring and a shell of his former self. So as much as I love you, Jerry, get the fuck off television. You're past it. Sorry to say that. Next we've got the Usos, who I gotta say I actually quite like. Really been impressed with these two. They are very decent workers. They're quick. They're fast. They're being pushed quite nicely. I'd like to see them get the belts at some point, and all credit to the WWE for getting these guys over. Maybe it's because they're cousins of The Rock. I don't know, but I think they're decent, and I think they'll have a big match in Survivor Series, which I'm actually looking forward to. So the Usos, I like them. Good on them. They're good wrestlers. Next, Jinder Mahal. I mean, a part of me would like to say, well, he should do some stereotypical, like, kind of Arab Indian thing, but then that's been done before, and in a way, and he's not even Muslim. I imagine he's Hindu with that turban on his hat, or Sikh. But yeah, he's just whatever. I don't really see any potential in him. He shouldn't do that gimmick stereotype anti-American shit 'cause it's been done to death, and I don't really see him being anything other than a gimmick. So unfortunately I don't really see much in Jinder Mahal, so sorry mate. Next you got John Cena. I appreciate him, like he's definitely got a place in the company. If you think that the WWE are better off without him, you're pretty naive. The WWE definitely benefits from Cena being around. I just hate how everything always goes back to him, how he constantly buries young stars. The focus is if he main events WrestleMania again this year, I'm going to be just disgusted. That would be enough to make me really want to boycott WWE. I enjoy the WWE, but if Cena main events 4 WrestleManias in a row, I'm just going to be disgusted because he's fucking over. I'm bored of him. Half the fans hate his guts. He's an okay wrestler. He's good at putting people over, like CM Punk and Daniel Bryan. Even though he still always doesn't lose clean, he's good at being like the kind of de facto heel, so to speak, against the face. I'm sick of John Cena. I'm happy he's a world heavyweight champion. To give the title, the WWE title, a miss with him, that's cool. He adds some validity to the world heavyweight championship. I respect his role in the company, but I'm sick to fucking death of him. So fuck him, fuck you, John Cena. Next we've got JoJo. I have no idea who she is, but she's pretty hot. Josh Matthews, he's alright. I don't really mind him. JTG, I can't even believe that guy's still around. What the fuck? Justin Gabriel, I kind of think he's talented, but I would like to see him in more matches. I'd rather see him on TV than quite a lot of other wrestlers, but whatever. I guess he just has no charisma. Justin Roberts, very good ring announcer. I think he's underrated. Caitlyn, whatever, boring. I don't really give a shit. Well, actually, her and AJ's rivalry was decent, so I'll give her some credit for that. But nah, not for me. Kane. He's a legend, future Hall of Famer. Really intrigued to see his new gimmick. I think he's a good worker. I think he's great, Kane. I'm a big fan of him. So yeah, I think he's got a couple years left in him. Kofi Kingston, again, like a bit like Dean Ambrose. This guy's just way too skinny for me. He's really not that muscular. I'm telling you, I'm looking at a picture of him now. I've probably got bigger pecs than he does. I'm not even joking. Kofi Kingston, kind of dull, a bit lame. He's probably better. I'd actually like to see him as a heel, see what he could do with that. But he doesn't. He just seems like a really nice guy, and I like his matches. He can do a good wrestling match. I want to see him stay away from title belts, but I think he's a good worker, so I have no problem with him. I think he's a good wrestler, nice character, whatever. Next we've got Layla. She's British, so I'm kind of down with her, and she's quite hot, but I don't really give a shit. Lillian Garcia. Whatever, fuck off. Stop singing America the Beautiful at WrestleMania, you're bollocks. Next, Luke Harper from the Wyatt family. Looks like a badass, kind of like him. I can't see a big career in front of him, but he could make potentially a bit of a nasty heel if they push him hard enough, because he's huge and he's quite athletic. So the WWE should try and make him like a really convincing heel wrestler. Next, we got Mark Henry. Another guy who seems to just disappear sporadically. His match with Cena was awesome. Great promo. Really fucked off. He tapped out to Cena. Yet another fucking wrestler that kind of gets buried by Cena. No problem with him not winning the belt. Although it would have been nice to have seen him winning it, if I'm being completely honest. But yeah, I like Mark Henry a lot. It would be nice to see him maybe get a WWE title reign at some point, but I think there are more deserving wrestlers. The future is now, and Mark Henry is the past. So unfortunately, his ship has sailed. Thanks to John Cena. So yeah, another fuck you for Cena for that one. Michael Cole, kind of annoying, but he's good at his job, so I can't really complain. The Miz, even though I think he's kind of shit and he's very average in the ring, I did like him a lot as a heel. I actually thought he was a really good, that title bit. I thought that was okay. He did some good work. He sucked as a face, but let's be honest, he's not that good. So potentially a massive waste of time putting him in a main event of WrestleMania. And him and Del Rio, probably the worst ever WWE champions. And I can't really, unless he turns heel, I can't really ever see Miz reaching the heights he did before, which is a bit of a shame, because I do enjoy some of his promos when he's a bad guy. Next, Vince McMahon. Whatever, I don't know. He obviously would be a good heel, kind of, but he's been there and done it, so maybe not. I could probably talk for a long time about all of my opinions on McMahon, but as in terms of his role on the roster, I'm fine with it. Whatever. Next, Naomi. She's a decent wrestler, pretty hot. Natalia. She's okay. She's kind of been a bit wasted considering she's Bret Hart's niece, I think. Niece? Yeah, I think so. So yeah, she's okay. Whatever. Nikki Bella. Whatever. Don't give a fuck. Paul Heyman. Really good to see him back on TV. Think he's a good manager. kind of been wasted a bit with Ryback and Curtis Axel, but absolute legend Paul Heyman, brilliant wrestling mind, and I'm a massive ECW fan, so good on you, Paul Heyman. He's a big asset to the company, in my opinion. Primo, I swear I've already talked about him as the Matadors, but Primo's okay, whatever. Quite a good wrestler actually, Primo, I think. R-Truth, he's okay. I'm glad he's rapping again, because that's just about the only thing that I like about him is his intro, kind of fun. But other than that, whatever. Get off my TV. Randy Orton, yeah, he's the WWE champion. He's good. I mean, I definitely like him. I don't want to see him shoved in my face because he's had quite a lot of the limelight over the last few years. But I appreciate him, and he makes a decent heel, and he's pretty good to look at, which is important, guys. That makes you fucking gets women in seats. It's good looking guys like him. So I like Randy Orton. He's pretty cool. Renee Young, I think it's just that new blonde chick. She's kind of shit. Don't rate her much. Rey Mysterio, he should probably just retire. Kind of like Rey Mysterio though. Bit of a legend. Ricardo Rodriguez should probably join Del Rio again because they don't really work so well on their own. So I reckon they should get back together. I like him. He's pretty entertaining. Roman Reigns, definitely a future star. He just looks fucking cool. Like looks like a tough son of a bitch. He's good looking. He's strong. He's definitely got the look the WWE wants. Doesn't hurt him. He's related to The Rock. He's actually not bad a wrestler. Not that good. I still much prefer the work of Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins to him. But who am I kidding? He's definitely got more of what the WWE wants. So I'm looking forward to him. I'm intrigued to see where he goes. I think he's probably more suited as a heel. But who knows? Maybe he could make a good face. So I do like him. Rosa Mendez, very sexy, dumb bitch though by the looks of it. Whatever. Ryback, man, yet another wrestler completely fucking wasted by the WWE. This guy, you remember, like Brodus Clay, this guy was winning in squash matches a lot last year. He was in the title picture. His "Feed Me More" chants were actually over as shit. He was probably the only face last year I actually liked and kind of rooted for. And then apparently he said some bullshit about wanting to replace John Cena as the top, and lo and behold, and I can't prove this, so maybe I'm wrong. Lo and behold, he loses to Mark Henry at WrestleMania and then turns heel the next night. I think he could have been a good face, but actually I think he's more suited to a heel. And if the WWE have completely destroyed his character, they must have a grudge on him. This cryback thing is ridiculous. He should just be a real badass fucking heel. This is why the WWE is so full of shit. One minute he's killing everyone in squash matches when he's a face they're trying to shove down your throat. And then he's like a heel and now he loses matches quite often. It should be the other way around. So they fucked over Ryback. Him losing to Punk quite often and only getting a roll up against Jericho and blah blah blah. Right, and I think he just lost to fucking what's his name? What's up, dude? What's up? I can't remember. R-Truth. He just lost to R-Truth on Raw. So I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? What a waste of TV time Ryback has been. I can't really ever see him reaching the heights that he deserves to be. What a waste. Ryback I rate actually relatively highly. I think he could be a pretty top heel, to be honest, but they fucked them over, so fuck you WWE for that. Next, Santino. Yeah, he's entertaining. Come on, he's fucking annoying. Don't get me wrong. He's got no future as a wrestler, but yeah, he's entertaining, and I'm sure the kids like him. So whatever. Scott Stanford. I swear I have no idea who that is. Seth Rollins. I really like Seth Rollins. I think he's a fantastic worker. He can take a bump. He's got good charisma. I reckon he'd make a good face. He kind of reminds me a bit of Jeff Hardy. He's probably not the kind of guy he'll ever be a main event guy, but like Jeff Hardy, maybe if he puts in the work over a few years, gets the fans on his side, who knows? Maybe he could make a good career of himself because he puts on some fucking good matches, and that's what I think about Dolph Ziggler as well. Even though people don't really think he's got all this charisma and blah blah blah. He puts on entertaining matches, and wrestling is still a wrestling industry as well as sports entertainment, of course. But wrestling is still very important, and the likes of him, Rollins and Ziggler, they put on some fucking good matches, and I really really like Seth Rollins. I'm always like a good Seth Rollins match. I think I went past R, which means RVD wasn't mentioned because I suppose he's left, but that was a really great comeback Rob Van Dam made. I was quite nervous about it. I thought he would not be. I thought he'd be a shell of what he used to be, but actually I was really entertained by RVD, so he was pretty damn cool. Sheamus is next. I'm half Irish. Oh, excuse me. I'm half Irish. I should really like Sheamus, but quite frankly, I do not like Sheamus one bit. He's fucking annoying as a face. Kind of a bit like Cena, always be shoved down your throats. For a company that always talks about not bullying, this guy bullies every heel I ever see, which makes no sense. So he's very badly handled, in my opinion. I think Sheamus is a good wrestler. He's quite built. He has got a unique personality, and he can wrestle. So I think he's been somebody. He's being wasted a bit by the WWE. I think he'd make a good heel. Who knows? But at this current time, he's just annoying, and him being off TV is probably not a bad thing for his career. Sin Cara, fuck off, he's shit. Stephanie McMahon, yeah, she's a legend, whatever. I kind of find her entertaining. I'm liking her as a heel. And yeah, she's the Vince's daughter, so whatever. She's probably, I don't know, it's hard to judge her really. Summer Rae, she's okay, kind of good looking. I actually really like the woman who originally came out with Fandango at WrestleMania. I thought she was quite cool, quite hot as well. But in all fairness, Summer Rae actually has got some good charisma. She's kind of annoying in a good way, so I don't mind her. Tamina Snuka should be way better than she is because she's pretty massive. She could be quite kick-ass, but she's just whatever. I don't even know. Like I said, I very rarely pay any attention to the women's division, so as far as I'm concerned, Tamina Snuka seems to be a bit wasted. Tenzai, it's how bad the WWE was last year that this guy was supposed to be like a monster fucking heel. Whatever, Tenzai shit. Fuck off. Theodore Long, kind of funny. I like never see him on TV anymore, which is fine, but he's kind of funny player. Titus O'Neil, I like this guy. A bit similar to Biggie Langston, massive. He's black, which kind of can put him over. Maybe he'd be a good future black superstar for the WWE. If I'm not mistaken, America's like 30% African American, right? Why are WWE not pushing more black stars to the top? I find that pretty fucking random, to be quite honest. I'm not sure Titus O'Neil's the kind of guy who's ever really going to be a top star. But how do you know unless you try? I'd like to see more of him, to be completely honest. Tony Chimmel, I think he's an announcer. I'm not sure, but he's okay. He's good. Next, Triple H. This guy's really pissing me off at the moment. He should definitely be a heel, by the way. But I just don't like how he's still trying to get over with the crowd as a face, even though he's a bad guy. He's just his ego is through the fucking roof. Him as a wrestler from '99 to 2001 is my favorite wrestler of all time. I just loved him 2000, fucking awesome. But today he kind of annoys me. Maybe that's a good thing because he is a heel. So maybe he's actually smart. Maybe he's outsmarting everyone because we're complaining about the fact that he's not. He's still trying to get himself over as a face. And we think he's got a big ego, so maybe he's working like the internet kind of smart mark crowd quite cleverly. If that's the case, good on him. But yeah, fuck you, Triple H. Tyson Kidd, he's just come back from injury. I've always thought he's good, but right now he seems very average. Maybe if he started pulling out some crazy fucking moves, I'd change my mind. But he's never going to be a big star, that's for sure. Even though he's a pretty decent worker. Undertaker, what a legend. Always good to see him at WrestleMania. I really want to see him live. I literally want to go to WrestleMania just to see Undertaker come out because I've never been to a wrestling match, so I'd love to see him. Obviously a legend, Undertaker. Vicky Guerrero, pain in the fucking ass, but maybe that's a good thing. I'm glad she's not on TV very often. If she's on TV every now and again, she's okay. But every week, ugh, fuck off. Just so irritating. Next, Wade Barrett. Yet another star that WWE is fucked up on. You see a pattern here, guys. All of these stars that WWE make themselves they end up just fucking up their pushes. They get pushed really hard, and then the WWE drops the ball on them. So many of them, Ryback, Wade Barrett, Brodus Clay, Del Rio. They all get pushed. Sheamus. They all get pushed really fucking hard, get annoying, and then the WWE just says, fuck it, whatever. And Wade Barrett's a bit of a shame because he was in the main event. He was main eventing his first few pay-per-views. That says that this guy has got some character. So the fact that the WWE have fucked up on him is pretty bullshit. And as a Brit, I like him quite a lot. He's not the most charismatic guy in the world, but he definitely should be higher up the pecking order than where he is. And they should take advantage of the English fans. We are massive wrestling fans, so you should give us a wrestler to fucking cheer and push. So yet another star WWE's fucked up. Next, William Regal. I never see him on TV. I think I've heard him in commentary a few times on NXT, and he's pretty hilarious. So he's pretty fucking cool. William Regal, always liked him. Yoshi Tatsu. Does this guy even wrestle anymore? Never seen anything special in him. Next, Zack Ryder. I do not like Zack Ryder. He's annoying as shit. Maybe it's because I'm English and not from Jersey. I don't really get him, but he's fucking annoying. Whatever. Not a very good wrestler either. And finally, guys, Zeb Coulter. I really like Zeb Coulter. I think his promos are fantastic. I like a bit of a funny, xenophobic heel promo. I think that's fantastic. It's topical. It's relevant. Tapping into a lot of racism in America and whatnot. I think he's hilarious. Good stuff, Zeb Coulter. He's the only good thing Jack Swagger's got. So, yeah, if not for Zeb Coulter, Jack Swagger would be fucked. Zeb Coulter's good shit. And yeah, that was my going through the WWE roster. Yet again, as you can see, there's some few good young stars here, but actually so many wrestlers, in my opinion, have been handled really badly. If anything, it's actually quite a bleak picture. When I came to do this, I was expecting to see at least one or two wrestlers who you could surefire say will be stars in the future. I don't really think there's anybody who just is obvious. Even like a Daniel Bryan or a Biggie Langston or a Roman Reigns, who to me have got a lot of potential. None of them, even as much as I like Daniel Bryan, seem like, oh, this guy is going to be a for sure main event player for years and years to come. So maybe the next Austin or Rock has still not been on TV yet. So quite worrying actually, if I'm being completely honest. And yeah, just the WWE have fucked up so many stars with failed pushes. So actually, in all fairness, quite depressing really after looking at this. Really, it's not good for the WWE. And yeah, fuck you, John Cena. Thanks guys, I hope you enjoyed that video, and I'll try and make some more pay-per-view reviews. Take care.